Hello friends and welcome, Katie here, and today it is release day at Cat Scrappiness. We have some fun products to share with you that's being released. This is a bit longer of a video than normal, but I have a lot to share with you and show you how these dies all coordinate and work together. So I tried to trim the fat away and keep this as streamlined as I could to cut down on the time. So we're going to jump right in. I sped up where needed and slowed down and that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go through all the products that's being released today. It's a 2-day release. So first up we have the Dressed Up Quokka Stamp and Die Set. This is a great plain little die set, stamp and die set, and this I'm showing you is the coordinating Halloween add-on stamp and die set. So you can dress up your little Quokkas as Halloween, critters, which is pretty cool. And next up we have the Lift Your Spirits die with shadow and the Happy Halloween die with shadow. So we'll be able to use some fun word dies to create some cards as well. Next up we have the Home Sweet Home House die set, and we have a haunted house add-on. So you need this particular die, the Home Sweet Home House die set. That's going to give you all your elements to be able to create a house, and then you can grab the add-on, the Halloween the haunted house add-on, to create your very own haunted house. And I'm going to go through all these stamps and dies to show you some examples on how they work and how you can use them in your card making. Lots of fun elements: rooftops, stairs, doors, different types of windows for the haunted house that I'm showing you there, bricks, fence, all kinds of stuff. So this is going to be really, really fun. Next up we have the Creepy Crawly Die Set. So you get a couple of spiders, a large one and a small one, and you get two spider webs, a full one and a half one. And next up we have the Boogie Ghost Die Set. I think this is one of my favorites with these little ghosts. And you get a little witch hat, a broom, a lollipop, and a bow tie. So you can dress up your ghosts, which is pretty fun. And then we have the Crafters Essentials Halloween die set. This is going to give you a different style fence. It's also going to give you a tree, some tombstones, pumpkins, crescent moon, and a couple different bats, which is totally awesome. They really, really help to create my Halloween haunted house scene. And then we have the Happy Mail Mini Slimline envelope die set, and we have the Snail Mail mini slimline envelope die set. So you get there's two brand new mini slimline envelope dies that are coming out, and there's a lot of different elements. You get little cutout envelopes that you can use to create cards with, cut out pattern paper and stuff, and they're slit open a little bit so you can tuck things in. And this one here that I'm showing you, which is the Snail Mail, that had little stickers and stuff. I'm going to show you all this stuff as we go through. But last but not least, we have the Boo to You Slimline pattern paper. Again, great selection of pattern paper coming out with this Halloween release to create some fun cards with little effort. Okay, so here I've gone through and I cut out my house frame, and then I took the little haunted house windows, little, creepy windows, and cut those out. And I'm showing you get a small, a medium, and a large window, which is great. So you can do different things. And I cut the door out. Now you don't have to cut these out like I did. I wanted to put some vellum behind it, as I'm doing here with some double-sided tape. You could just cut them out of black cardstock and put them over top of your house cutout panel. You don't have to open them up. I just chose to do that. And I'm just taking some scrap vellum to cover up the windows. I wanted to have it so there's a little bit of light behind it, and the way that I did my ink blended panel, which I did that off camera to save us some time. If ink blending is something you're interested, leave a comment down below. That way I know when I do my videos each month I can do some ink blending videos. So here I'm just adding in my last vellum slip to go over these two smaller windows. And I wanted, like I said, I wanted to have a little glow behind it. I did try some alcohol markers. I didn't like the way they looked. But here I'm actually going to add some siding to my house panel. So I've taken my scoreboard and my one of my bone folders. This is a little bit thinner bone folder, unlike the Teflon bone folders that are a little bit thicker of a tip. This is a little bit finer, and so I'm able to get a nice thin line instead of such a broad deep crease in the score. And it's just going to give a little bit of detail and definition to the front of our house. And once I get that done, which I'm almost done here, and I'm not doing anything special, I'm just using the lines to create the same spacing that is on the scoreboard. So now I'm going to take some Distress ink and one of the new mini blending brushes and add that to the front of my panel. Now I do tap off the excess black soot because I don't want like streaks of black. I just want it to be a shade to kind of dirty up the house a little bit and give a little bit of definition to those score lines that I put in there. And I finish it with the little brush, but I am going to come back in a little bit and add with a foam blender to give a little bit more of that black soot. Not a lot, just like a residue that was on my foam blending tool. But now I'm going to add my little roof panel. This comes in your haunted house add-on kit. I cut it out of some black glitter cardstock. And the windows, I'm just adding a little bit of liquid glue to those. I don't want a ton because I don't want it to seep out onto the vellum. But I'll add those in now to start putting the front of our house together a little bit. And I would like all these little elements that go to create this scene. I don't make too many scene cards, but this was a lot of fun, so I'll probably be doing those a little bit more, just because I really liked how this turned out. Believe it or not, this is actually my first Halloween card I've ever made. My husband and I were married on Halloween, so we always spent time decorating the house and doing that kind of stuff, getting dressed for Halloween. But we haven't been doing that the last few years just because Liam's out of the house and stuff. But this is the panel I was talking about. So I have a piece of hot press watercolor paper that I ink blended with antique linen, Victorian velvet, seedless preserve, chipped sapphire, and black soot. And that's time consuming, so I didn't want to include that in the video today because the video is long enough. But that's the roof that I was showing you. There is actually detail. It's hard to see with the glitter and, because it shimmers in the light. But there is some fine detail from the shingles. And I used the Lumberyard paper pack to cut my door out, and then just a fine tip Sharpie to define the, little door panels that are embossed from that die cut. And here are my trees from our Crafters Essential Halloween die set, our bats that are also in the Crafter Essential Halloween die set, and our crescent moon. And then I've cut my Boogie Ghost and my little spider from the Creepy Crawly die set. And I just love these little ghosts. I think they're so cute. Now I did cut those out of some white glitter cardstock, and now I'm going to start assembling. So I'm going to take this first ghost and put him behind the top window so it looks like he's, inside the house peeking out the window. And it is a haunted house after all. And now I'm just going to add some liquid glue to adhere this down to my panel. Now I'm not going to smush it down completely yet because I need to tuck some ghosts behind and add some things. So we're going to tuck our second ghost behind the house there. I just scraped off a little bit of glue that I had on that glitter cardstock with some sand eraser, and now I'm going to add in my door, my front door, and I do take and I'm going to tuck that ghost in before I start adding in some other elements. So here I use my little die picker tool to lift up my door, and the hinge where it's scored, it didn't score well enough, so it, you know, lifted up when I opened it. So just adding a little bit more liquid glue, and now I'm going to tuck my other ghost behind the door to seem like he's coming out, which I thought was really cute. And then I'm going to add in my little spider. I did have some stick-it adhesive on the back, but I always like to add a little bit of extra glue, liquid glue, to make sure that it's going to adhere down. And then I'll add in my chimney, cut out of the same gray cardstock. This was the smoke cardstock. I think it's from Gina K. Could be Simon Says Stamp, but it's a smoke gray cardstock, so not super dark, not super light. And then adding my little chimney layers. That chimney layer I put on is also cut out of the black glitter cardstock, and this roof peak is also cut out of the black glitter cardstock. My little moon is cut out of some Star Dream metallic gold cardstock. Sorry, I had to think of that for a second. And then my other black elements are just cut out of black cardstock. So here's the little fence that comes in the Halloween add-on set. So everything I've used, with the exception of the house, all the little window elements and the fencing, all come from the Haunted House add-on. And then of course you have your Halloween Crafters Essential die set, which gives us the trees, the moons, and the bats that I'm going to put on here in just a second. And the fence was a little bit longer on one side, a little bit shorter on the other, so I just take the piece that I trimmed off on the right side, and I'm going to add that to the end piece of the fence on the left side. And then we'll put the tree in front of it, and that's going to cover that seam up, and nobody will ever know that one was shorter than the other. Now this panel does measure 5 by 7. The watercolor paper that I use, so it worked out perfect. I didn't have to trim anything up. So this will make a 5 by 7 card. You can trim this down to be able to create an A2 card. There's going to be lots of examples on the blog, so make sure you head over to thecatscrappiness.com/blog to check out all the other projects that the awesome other design team members have created. They're really, really ingenious, and they have lots of great inspiration for you guys. So here I'm just adding some liquid glue to adhere that tree down on the right, and then once I get everything figured out and nailed down, I will trim away those excess bits of tree limbs, and then we're going to move on to our dress up Quokkas. Now, I'm going to put the bats on. Now, the bats, again, they come in the Crafter Essential Halloween die set. This bat here that I'm adhering is upside down. So take the little tiny little peaks and flip it around. So the little smaller pointy pieces are going to be facing up, not down like I had it. So now we're going to do the dress up Quokkas, and I'm going to stamp that in some Gina K amalgam ink. I do basic coloring on this. I've got the little lady Quokka. I call her the lady just because of the way they look. And then I have the little mummy costume from the Halloween costume add-on. Obsidian amalgam ink is what I'm using to stamp this up. And now I'm showing you quickly, a cool gray marker, alcohol marker. I didn't want anything too dark, just something to give the mummy a little dirtiness. I probably could have used brown too, or something. A little black soot I could have used on that too. So you got a lot of different options to be able to color that in. And now I'm just using a brown alcohol marker to color her in. Now it didn't matter to me. I use a little pink for the ears because that's all you're going to see once we get her put together, is her little eyes and her ears. So super simple. Probably didn't even need to color that rest of the body in, to be honest with you. but I did. So now I'm going to adhere her over to the left by the tree and taking a white gel pen and adding some stars. This is a number 10 jelly roll. I have to scratch it off camera because I couldn't get it to ink consistently, but now we got it going. So now I'm just adding in my stars, and that's going to finish up this panel. I love how this turned out. I was so excited when I got it done that I think it's adorable. So next, we're moving right along, friends. I'm trying to keep this flowing for you. We're going to use the Boo to You paper, and I'm going to take the little purple and white ghost pattern paper and the lime green, slimy green colored with the pumpkins, and I'm making a mini slimline card. So I've got the mini slimline cross-stitched dies that I'm going to cut the green panel out of. And I showed you that I opted for the larger. I was going to do the smaller one, but it was just a little too small with the layering, so I went with you know, the larger cross-stitched mini slimline die that you saw there. And now I'm going to adhere my panels together, a piece of black cardstock, and I'll have all the measurements and stuff for this in the description box below. But here I've cut the half black spider web, or the half spider web out of black glitter cardstock, and a little liquid glue. A little time consuming to add all that liquid glue in, but I prefer it because it gives me some time to work to get this lined up where I want it. And then I cut it again out of that glitter cardstock, and so I can make a larger spider web for the center. And then I will I went and die cut the Happy Halloween out 3 times out of some heavyweight white cardstock. I wanted this sentiment to really pop up off the panel. And then I have some white glitter cardstock that I use to cut out the 4th layer, and that's what I'm adhering now, just to give it a little shimmer and sparkle for Halloween. And so now one of the things I liked about this particular die cut, and I'm not sure if it's, you know, just how the words are, the letters are, but it's able to flex. So I was able to kind of angle that word down a little bit, so it wasn't so straight across, and that finishes it. I mean, that couldn't be quicker, my friends. Okay, and next up we have the Lift Your Spirits card. Again, using some of the Boo to You cardstock on some black panel, and I've got some ghosts, some boogie ghosts, and I've got our Lift Your Spirits shadow that I cut out in some white glitter cardstock. I had all that out, so I might as well just use the same ones. And I'm tucking my ghosts. These are like the really yay, happy, excited, we're trying to lift your spirits ghosts is how I looked at it. So that's why I selected these. And I'm tucking them behind the shadow, and the hands on a couple of these actually pop out. So I had a stamp that said Let's, so I stamped that with some black StazOn ink to that white glitter cardstock to create a little sign, and tucked it in for the ghost to hold. And then I die cut the Lift Your Spirits out of some black glitter cardstock, and now I'm just going to adhere those down. And these are fun, simple, quick cards that you guys can create. I got a few more ideas, but I had to kind of limit because, like I said, this video is pretty long, and I just wanted to give you some ideas on how you can use these dies, how they work together. You can use them separate to create some fun Halloween cards. Okay, so adhering spirits down, and then I was just going to do the 3 ghosts. So I add this ghost here, and then the left side was a little bare, so I grabbed one more to put him down in the lower left side, and that finishes it up. Oh, I'm going to add in some black obsidian jewels. These released at the beginning of August, and these are perfect for Halloween cards. And I just add in a few just to pop those little black dots up a little bit more from that pattern paper, and that finishes it up. Next, we're going to do the envelopes. So first we're going to start with the mini Slimline Happy Mail. So here I've got a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. You could do this with 8.5 by 11. You just got to do, basically the easiest thing is to put your die like I'm doing here, mark your cardstock where it needs cut. There's no reason to measure anything like that, you know, with exact measurements, and see where you need to trim away so you have enough. So I'm just using a piece of pattern or 12 by 12 paper that I had in my stash. It's not my favorite because you can see it leaves like the lotion and oil marks that are on your hands. But here I'm just reburnishing those score lines from it being die cut, and now I'm going to score the and burnish those score lines down to get everything folded up, and then we're going to put this together. So, and that is our little flap to close it, so I went and cut that out real quick too. So here I'm just showing you that if you just adhere the two, you know, the scored edge to that flat straight edge, that's how we're going to put it together. So I use double-sided adhesive, which is what I recommend. This is the 1/8 of an inch size, which is more than enough. You could use a 1/4 inch. That's these sides are big enough, you know, to do that, but the 1/8 of an inch is fine. And so here's where I goofed a little bit. I closed everything up before putting my closing flap in. So before you close it, just adhere your scored edge onto the back, you know, the inside bottom panel to add your flap. Now I'm going to do these envelopes again. I'll do another set of envelopes for tomorrow's video on day 2 release, and show in a little bit more detail that so you can see them in action one more time. Okay, so I didn't go with this. You can tell by my photos from the beginning. I wasn't really sure. I was just kind of die cutting and putting things together. Those are the little envelopes that I was telling you about, that they have little cutouts, you know, where the envelope flaps meet. And so it gives you little, you know, things where you can tuck stuff in. That has a little heart that die cuts out of it. I had to put it back because it was right in the middle of the pumpkin's face. You couldn't tell anyway what it was. But here I'm showing you where you can tuck in those things. But this is what I ended up going with. And I thought it was really super cute. Now, this, I had one piece of 12 by 12 pattern type paper. And so I'm showing you the same thing. I just lined up my dies. This is for the Snail Mail envelope die set, and I really like this because I like the different shape closure for the envelope. But you want to, in order to line things up on pattern paper, you need to cut the reverse for the back side. So I flipped that panel over and cut it out with, you know, because it's not a double-sided pattern paper, so that everything will line up. And even if you made a mistake, you can rescore those lines. But, you know, if you just cut it once, you know, like that, just reverse it. That's all you got to do. I found that that's the easiest way with envelope dies, is to just reverse your second panel to be able to get everything matchy-matchy. Okay, so 1/8 of an inch double-sided score tape. Now again, you could use the 1/4 inch there, but again, 1/8 of an inch is fine. Now I'm using my scoring board to adhere that panel. So if you have trouble lining things up, sometimes I do, the Score Buddy or your scoring board is perfect to be able to get those pieces lined up. And here I'm showing you that our mini Slimlines fit perfect. There's even a little bit of wiggle room to, you know, if your card base is a little bit longer, you could use that too. Now these are some of the elements. Like this, you can create little stickers and create closing seals. I like to use wax seals on my envelopes when I mail them out. But if you're not into that, and maybe you like to close your envelopes with a sticker instead of using, you know, double-sided tape or something, you could, you know, create double-sided stickers, you know, with these little cutouts to add, and they have little things you can tuck, you know, so there's tons of different things with these elements that, you know, that you can use, not just for your envelopes. This panel cuts out, this is a frame, so I'm just showing you that the die that comes in there can cut out an extra panel. So if you like to hand letter or, you know, use alphabet stamps and stuff like I do, you can have that separate piece instead of having it attached to your envelope or trying to stamp on the envelope, to be able to create those. And I'll do some more videos on the envelopes, and showcasing that, so that you'll understand some other ways that you can use these envelopes. I like to make my own envelopes. On my own channel, I have a couple videos where I've done some mail envelope videos to show you that you can glue things down and it will go through the mail with no problem. I always have to pay a little extra, like I said, because I use wax seals, but you know, it's definitely doable. But here is a final run through of everything that we created today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified as soon as day 2's video is uploaded to the channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.